This is Trans-Africa Radio.
My name is Graham Kricha, and I play I basically put a life in the character of Mr. Masangu, Lionel Masangu. He's a teacher, as an English teacher, and who happens to be
We're waiting for the happens to be.
Yeah.
Who happens to be a blesser.
Who happens to be a blesser, but frankly a statutory rapist.
Yes.
Jeez, man, that's a hectic
okay, just before we carry on, just for the purposes of edutainment, what is statutory rape?
Statutory rape is having a sexual relationship with a
minor,
or under 16 years old. So from 15 to under would be from 15 below would be statutory rape.
Yeah. Now, Steph, obviously a lot of the content on MTV Shuga is about topics like this, in terms of discussing knowledge about stuff like sex, but also stuff like peer pressure as well.
Yes.
Where does your character fit in the entire storyline of this season of MTV Shuga down south?
So I play the role of Tulu, and Tulu is basically a 16-year-old feisty, beautiful young girl, but also who does give into peer pressure. She gets into a transactional relationship, so the whole blessee relationship with a guy by the name of Saul.
Okay, so this is not the teacher as well. This is someone else.
This is yes. So this
Okay.
is not the teacher.
Okay.
This is another guy which you'll hear from shortly.
Yeah.
And basically, what happens with her story is we look at transactional relationships in which young girls get into these situations where they have stuff, but they just want better. And that, I think, comes from peer pressure a lot of the times, because with Tulu's character, for instance, she looks at Zamo, and Zamo always has nice things. So Zamo always has, the latest phone, and she always looks good. And Tulu's like, why can't I have that? Mind you, she has a hardworking father who provides everything she needs.
Yep.
She just wants better, And so she gets herself into a transactional relationship. She gets better materialistically, but at a price.
At a price.
And that price is a very, very high price. And ultimately, it doesn't end well for her at all. So it's a very, very sad story. But at the same time, it's one that definitely needed to be told, living in the times that we're living in right now.
Also in studio, we've got Aya.
Okay, so I play Saul, who is a rich, spoiled kid. His father owns the taxi company around, so he drives the most popular kara around.
Oh, way.
And he's constantly changing the front seat girl, Petumtano yellow. And so what he does is he pretty much capitalizes on what Steph has touched on, that girls who have something but always want better. So he capitalizes on that by providing that better phone or that most expensive weave or whatever may be in exchange for whether it be sex or for ownership over them, pretty much. So what he contributes in terms of education is that he highlights how these guys feel that they own you the moment they buy you that social ladder freedom, or that social ladder presence,
that status,
yes. When they give you that status, they feel like they own you. So he pretty much enlightens the audience on what could happen when things could spiral. I think because the stories are told from the youth's perspective, I think that already enlightens the fact that we are aware of these topics.
Amazing,
and we are willing to address them. For example, if you look at the story of Reggie and Q, that story does not speak only towards what men are doing to women, but it also speaks to what men are doing to themselves.
Yes.
And in order for us to be able to address how we treat our women, we first need to address how we treat ourselves. So
very powerful view that.
At the end of the day, we all got to get a paycheck, right? Y'all did not do this show purely because I love sex. Okay, you guys need to get a paycheck, but I do feel like a project like this is very it means something. So I want to find out from you guys, why did you take part in the series?
Actually, I didn't want to take on the role at first, to be very honest with you. This is my first lead role, and I didn't feel like I could actually pull off a character that needed such depth. Tulu goes through a lot. And so when I read it, I was like, no, thank you. I'll wait for a few years. And I'm grateful. I worked with an amazing team, great actors, co-actors that, supported me in order to sort of bring that out. So, but just seconding exactly what Graham said, which is just you want to tell stories that are real and things that mean something. So that was very important. But I didn't want to do it at first, was my point.
We are so thankful you did it.
Thank you.
There's that one scene where Saul hits you. Hits the character, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out where you had to go through that. They tell us it's not true, but you don't know what happens.
Well, hey.
For me, it was growing up in a small town. I never had the opportunity to do acting on a TV platform. So from the moment I came to Joburg, I was like, I want to play the rich guy. I want to play that. But when a story like this came, it in essence it was like, okay, now I want to tell a real story. You know what I mean? It was no longer about the flashiness of the career, or no longer about the flashiness of the characters that you play, but it was more about how do I now give back? How do I now change lives? How do I now impact lives? And MTV Shuga just fell in my lap, and I
gave you that opportunity. Hashtag the get up and hashtag MTV Shuga. Of course, man. We're throwing that sauce in there, man.
Come on with it. It's a Friday. And we've deemed it a block party purely because we're here with some really talented, young, gifted African people. And of course, this is an African stable, so we're just trying to spread the love. And of course, this is a continental series. It's not just for one country. It's a continental one as well.
You should look at the banner behind you.
I'm just saying. 7:26 Central African time is the Get Up with myself, Bax, as well as Solo. Good music and great conversation coming your way. Let's get back into the good music now. Some Tiwa Savage as well as Young Paris coming through.
I spoke to the directors quite a lot, and in terms of how to move forward, but basically, I've got a life story concerning a blesser, or even though they were not called blessers at the time. I remember. No. I mean, when I was in matric, actually, I remember I had a girlfriend that was in grade 10, and at some point she broke up. I don't know if I told you the story though, but at some point she broke up with me, and I just wondered what was wrong with this girl. We had a good thing going, and only to find out that she was actually jolling a teacher. Yes.
Mshaya is there by a teacher. There was something she needed to learn, and you couldn't teach. No, I kid. I kid.
I'm just gonna look past that.
I kid.
I was young. You know what I mean?
All in the name of banter.
What do you teach when you're 18?
Yes.
So she was. Yeah, but the teacher ended up losing his job. He didn't get arrested. But he ended up losing his job. The mom's girl was a teacher herself. And the girl's mom was a teacher herself. So yeah. So I had to also look into that in terms of how to. And the teacher was also a friend of mine, a personal friend of mine, to be honest.
Wow, this is a whole series all on its own.
Wow. By itself.
This is a series on its own.
Yeah.
How much time do you guys have to take personally to process that character, and how does it affect you personally?
How much time does it take for you to prep for this show?
Mina.
That's not fair.
Mina.
I think for me personally, it took a lot to prepare for the character, but what took a lot more was after the fact, because I don't think I anticipated how the character would have affected me as Stephanie, and it was, like I said, was my first lead role, but then it was also my first lead role that had issues like rape and abuse and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't study acting, did start there, so I didn't know all these things and method acting and whatever else, and so I just sort of immersed myself into the character, and I used some of my own emotional experiences, and it was all like one melting pot of a disaster. So when they called cut, I wouldn't always, and Ayanda knows, I wouldn't always be able to step out of character, and I'd go home and I'd be so emotional, and the entire week I'm emotional and I'm depressed. So it took a lot out of me.
Oh, you can never have enough time to prepare, you know. But the one thing I want to say is that this job is probably one of the most emotionally draining job ever.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly playing someone else, but at the same time you need to tell that person's story truthfully. So firstly I want to commend Steph for doing that, you know, without any formal training or without anything like that, and having to give yourself and your personal experience, and after that still return to your normal life and pretend like it all didn't happen.
Yes.
You
Wow.
know?
Yes.
So I think for me the process afterwards was also difficult, trying to get out of it. I mean, I personally have never raped anyone, you know.
Yeah.
So
Good to clear that.
Out there, just.
Yeah, so it becomes addictive, right?
Yeah.
no.
I'm saying,
I'm recently fresh out of varsity. I just graduated from my BTech. You know, so
Where did you study?
TUT.
Away.
she's a great.
Hola, Pitoni.
Yeah, boy.
Congratulations. You're pulling a Lupita Nyong'o on us. First one out. And
hope.
and you know she was on MTV Shuga as well. So you know.
I hope.
No.
I started in a TV drama series called Tempe Pushes. I think that was sometime in 2013.
Yep.
But I'm originally from Knysna, down in the Western Cape, small town, the Garden Route.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fire. Shout out to the people of Knysna.
Yeah, no. True.
Okay.
Just want to send support there.
Yeah. So yes, and then gradually, you know, I've been doing. From there I've been sort of growing slowly. It's got ups and downs, but I mean, we love performing, we love acting. So we enjoy the process.
For me personally, studied something completely out of anything to do with acting. I studied linguistics for an entire 7 years, and then I started out as an extra, just because, you know, I needed to get petrol money, and then gradually, they gave me a line on this TV show called Scandal. They gave me 2 lines and 3 lines, and then gradually my character, you know, sort of built there, but not really big. But like I said, MTV Shuga was my big break, you know, for a lead role, because I had never had that. Prior to that, I did some presenting, but acting-wise, MTV Shuga gave me this amazing platform.
Did it from a young age. Back in Queenstown in the Eastern Cape, my mom was very involved in terms of motivational speaking, debating, emceeing of events. So I used to follow her everywhere. So arts, I grew up, you know, having the arts in my blood and music. And then I went to AFTA Johannesburg, studied at AFTA, got my first gig got 2 commercials, and then got my first proper acting gig on Mfolozi Street. And then from there, it's just been wave after wave after wave.
Okay, so all of you guys have just been like, from there on, it was just.
Yeah, man.
Can we go back to the ups and the downs? Because, you know, there's someone out there who's trying to, you know, break into the industry. And if there's one thing I understand about entertainment is that, you know, as much as, and the rest is history, but the rest in itself is ebbs and flows.
Look,
Okay?
I will definitely say, just because I didn't study acting doesn't mean I wasn't going to the auditions. I mean, I was trying. Eventually, when I decided this is what I want to do. But I had probably been auditioning with my agency. Shout out to my agent. Her name's Anna Canvas Cam. She the best. Anyway,
Canvas
I'm
Cam.
saying this because I auditioned for a solid 3 years before booking. 3 years. I was auditioning for 3 years before actually booking MTV Shuga, because I didn't audition for Scandal or the other stuff that I was on. But in terms of auditioning, I was going to auditions at least 2-3 times a week. And thank God for a patient agent, because if I was my own agent, I'd been like, you're fired.
Yeah.
But so what I'm trying to say is it's not easy. You're not going to walk into your first audition and be like, yes, and get it. You're not even your second, maybe not even your 10th audition for that matter. But really, how much do you want it? How badly do you want it will determine whether you'll continue.
But she did, though.
She did because she's Lorato. Because there's one in.
No,
In short,
I've also had my fair share of
Ups and downs.
crying.
yeah. Well, I guess to what you're saying, own race, own pace, right?
Yes.
So listen, guys, here at Trans Africa Radio, I'm sure you've heard, we playlist 100% African music. We don't play any music outside of the continent. And every single time that we have a guest in studio, we always want to find out from them. So from every single person here, a very brief answer.
If there's any place to embrace one another, I think it's South Africa, because in South Africa we've got a lot of differences and a lot of people don't appreciate differences. A lot of people tend to think that difference means hostility. Difference means enemy. Different means fear. And I think we need to understand that difference can actually mean that we need to know each other, so we can embrace each other. So I love it. It allows us to know each other more.
Yeah, Steph?
I think it's great, personally. I've just recently jumped onto the whole different
Dancehall,
sound,
yeah,
African kind of. Shout out to my boyfriend for that one, but I love it. I'm
Siambulela
just giving a lot of shout outs. Do you see me on your show
guys,
just giving shout outs?
Any more shout outs before we proceed? Yes.
No, that was the last one. Anyway, and half the time I don't always know what they're saying, but I vibe and I dance and I groove and I think it's amazing. I think it's great. So big ups, guys. I love it.
What disappoints us the most is that Africans would rather listen to American music than listen to South African music, because it's Beyonce and not someone like from Africa. You know.
Oh.
So I think it's cool. It's proper. I like Nigerian music, so hey.
Guys, I don't know what Beyonce did to the people. We're discussing early on in the show. Do you celebrate or commemorate Youth Day? What is your message to youth? Are we supposed to be celebrating or are we supposed to be commemorating Youth Day? Does it matter?
That's what I was.
Question is, how do I celebrate June 16? Do I celebrate it by most probably committing myself into the wrong things, or do I celebrate it by commemorating by singing songs of freedom? Do I celebrate it by being part of plays and so forth that sort of commemorate June 16?
Yeah.
So I'd like to do a bit
exercising the freedoms that were
exactly
fought for.
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
100% you stole my answer, but I do think that yes, both. I would love to do both, because I think that it's important for us to always remember why this day is important. I think history is extremely important, but at the same time, looking at how that has sort of had a ripple effect and what are we doing now as a youth, and that is why MTV Shuga is so powerful, because that's what it looks at. It targets, yes, the issues that youth are struggling with, but it gives young people hope to say that it doesn't matter what situation you have found yourself in or gotten yourself into, there's always a way out. And I think as young people on this day, it's important to remember that, you know what, there is no situation that you can't sort of get out of, but at the same time be aware of the decisions that you make. Just as in past times, they made certain decisions and choices that had a ripple effect into what's happening now, or the youth that we have now. We should be cognizant of the decisions and the choices we make now and the consequences that will follow.
I think we've been given, if you look at the youth of back then, when they were studying, when they were being taught, everyone just wanted to be nurses, doctors, teachers, and we've been, because of what has happened, because of our past and not forgetting our past, we have now been given a platform to do something where we can actually express ourselves. You can act, you can do radio, you can do graffiti, and all of those things are possible because of where we come from. So I think we should then use that, exercise that freedom that we've been given and capitalize on it, and actually make our country and our continent, put it on the map.
Yeah.
I'm not going to repeat what they said. All I'm going to say is we should continue what the youth of 1976 did. Continue to believe that you shouldn't settle for what we have right now. Always strive for better. Always strive for more.
Yeah.
And yeah.
All right, guys. Something else that's happening today, season finale, which means that, your jobs are done. Y'all are done.
Yes.
And obviously we'll be seeing you guys in other projects as well, because you guys are just that talented. Actually, I was just thinking now. I was watching him the other night on another show. Yeah.
One.
Hey now.
Which one is that?
Ikazi.
Oh, okay.
So
making waves.
So for now, with MTV Shuga, it's goodbye for now.
Yes.
But of course, we'll be seeing you guys in other projects as well.
I mean, it's not goodbye for MTV Shuga. There's other platforms. There's comic books.
Talk to us. Come on with it.
Expose it. Bring it all out.
Give it to us.
Where we've actually given the youth a chance to be part of the journey. So
Yes.
illustrators out there have the opportunity to actually enter the competition, where they can draw one of their favorite characters and enter the competition, and their pictures could be used in the comic book, and they could get a whole illustration mentorship thing going. So MTV breaks. There's a lot of radio skits happening. There's activations, open ground activations, school tours.
Can you tell us about the episode that's airing tonight?
It's deep.
Come on.
Jesus.
Steph won't be there. Solo won't be there.
Yeah, Tulu's not there.
What? Huh?
Tulu's dead. SABC One on Fridays, and
Sundays.
on Sundays at 8 o'clock SABC One.
All right.
Amazing.
So if it ends today, you still got a chance to catch it on Sundays at 8 o'clock.
This is Trans Africa Radio.